Hello, welcome to another typology interview. We have Chris here, and Chris is actually the exact same type as someone else I had an interview with before, Otim. So it's going to be really interesting to talk to you, man. Thank you a lot for coming, man.
Great to be here. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
yeah. So I'm actually really excited too. So tell me a little bit about your history in typology. Like you just told me you were a licensed. You're on your way to getting licensed as a therapist.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
working as a full-time therapist with clients.
I am a full-time therapist right now with clients, and I'm about a year away from becoming licensed.
Awesome.
At,
Okay.
at which point I'll be in private practice.
Really cool. And then so you have a history with typology before you started learning psychology or just started in school?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, my history with typology goes back to like being a teenager, right? So I had like a friend group that they're all like, "Oh, you got to take this online test, see what type you are, or whatever." And then
Cool.
we'd all talk about it, and that continued through college. And it was totally separate from psychology. So,
Oh, okay.
like, psychology doesn't respect MBTI at all.
Right,
So
right.
it's
But
not
it
something that
respects
we ever
young.
talk.
It does respect young.
Yeah, yeah, the history of Jung, yeah,
Right. So did you
but
have like a
not.
class on that, on Jung and his functions and stuff like that, or less?
I had a class on the history of psychology. So Jung would
Okay.
have been one psychologist that we learned about and all of his ideals.
Condensed into like one lesson or two lessons or something.
Right, yeah,
Right.
like one chapter out of a book.
Yeah.
But learning Jung was never about learning the types. That would have been Myers Briggs, and
Right, right.
we didn't learn Myers Briggs at all. So,
Right. Cool,
yeah.
man. So what were you typed as at first? INTP, you said, no?
I always got ENTP on tests.
Oh, wow.
But my
ENTP.
friends, my friends all said, "Oh, you're so introverted.
Yeah, man.
You're definitely INTP." And
Sleep
the
consume, like
INTP did fit. It did fit. Like it
right.
does. It
Yeah.
does.
You're right. It
So
does fit.
it was like a long personal journey though to understand like am I really INTP or am I an introverted ENTP?
Right. And it turns out that like OPS types you as NITI, which like for
Yeah.
you were telling me how you're starting to identify with it and see that like it's more accurate than INTP.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it is. I mean, OP's type of me filled in the holes.
Right.
Like I am intuitive first, just a different kind of intuition.
Yeah.
And I am feeling last. That's my demon. So
Right. Yeah, and you're NI, man, and first, and so you're like this. Yeah, and the other thing that's really cool is that you can triangulate yourself. You have O team, like which not many people have someone of their exact same type, and you do. And I see you talking with them. You speak the same language. You act the same. You behave the same. You're like you're like two peas in a pod, man. And it's really cool to watch like your interactions.
it's so freaky. I mean, if I didn't have Odom around, I would still be wondering, am I an INTP? Probably.
Right.
But I just, and it's hard to describe, but I understand certain things that he does. Like if he takes a pause on a video, it's not like I know what he's thinking, but I understand why there's a pause. I understand
Right.
why his eyes are looking up in the sky.
Right.
And I can't verbalize it, you
It's
know?
like looking in a mirror. Like,
It really is.
yeah. It's really cool that you have that. So yeah, I was really hoping that like once this system gets spread out a bit more, more people will find other people that are exactly the same type as them, and hopefully be able to see if their type was accurate. And so you're able to see that your type is quite accurate.
Correct. Yeah. And that's, I think, is vital. That's vital. Having people of the same exact 512 type as you.
Yeah.
Because
To
even slightly different, like Eminem is my type, but he's double masculine, and
right.
I would
Different.
not relate to
Night and
him at
day.
all. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. And so the other thing is like really one of the things I'm trying to do in the interviews is look for proof of OPS matching reality, and then you and O team seem to be like one of those proofs that like it's one of those data points that's like I can't deny. Like now that I've seen both of you, now that I've seen you guys interact, it's just crazy that it happens that like you that it's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. We should be like the poster children for.
Well, hopefully there'll be more poster children. Hopefully there will be more double types. So
I
yeah, let's
agree.
talk. Yeah, let's talk about you a little bit. So, what is NI for you? What do you see that as?
Oh goodness, NI is so my NI is feminine, and I just feel like it's hard to describe. It's so watery.
Do you feel like by describing something, like putting it into SI terms, you've sort of destroyed what it actually is? Do you feel like understanding is something greater than a description?
In a way, yeah. I think maybe destroys a harsh word, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just there just
It
aren't
doesn't capture
words that
it.
are
Yeah.
satisfying. It's not satisfying. Um,
Right.
but I guess for me, it's like NI is sort of like I do a lot of abstracting. So I do a lot of like stepping back and imagining how different scenarios are going to interplay or work out. And I do this constantly. Like,
Right.
so okay, before I even get into that, one thing that I love about OP is that it combines certain things. So like the animals are a combination of functions. So for me, it's really hard to how do you separate NI when I use NI and TI? Like, it's just
Yeah. Yeah.
it's hard
I
for
get that.
me.
I get that. But like, I, the way it feels like for me is like, okay, you have like this object in front of you and you can pick it up. And so it feels like TI is the one that's picking it up and NI is like that object. Is that what it feels like for you?
For me, I would wonder if SE is picking it up and NI is the one who's flipping the object in different perspectives. Like
Perspectives,
I'm
yeah.
holding it, but I'm imagining what it looks like on all
Right.
sides.
Right. But it feels like the one that's flipping it and turning it is the TI for me. I don't know about for you.
Interesting.
Yeah?
Okay. Maybe. I would have thought that would be SE
SE. Okay.
because it's handling a literal object in the physical world.
Yeah, but yeah, SE is literal and physical, and NI is just like this abstract, concepts, and it's not even just one. You can take two and sort of flip them and see how they match and stuff, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that I don't know. That's how it feels for me. I don't know if you
For
resonate with
my
that.
TI, I always thought of my TIs more like I want to understand something. So I have this object in my head. I want to break it down into its little pieces so that I understand like how it's built,
Right.
basically.
Right. Yeah. I do the same thing. I'm not sure if it's the same functions that do it, but I do the same thing. That's interesting. Yeah. For me, though, the little pieces, once it's broken down to little pieces, that feels like SE to me.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
It makes
Like,
sense in a way because
yeah.
the little pieces would be physical realities.
Yeah. That's what it feels like to me. Like, if you break them down small enough, it'll just become SE. And like, there's not going to be a cohesive whole to it if you break it down that much. But once it becomes like this cohesive whole, it feels like, and I don't know if it feels the same for you.
So for my NI, I'm all the time wanting to get to a point of understanding. And I
Yes.
don't know what separates that NI from TI because I thought TI is a lot about wanting to know and understand things and sort of get to a
But I
truth.
really like what you said, a point of understanding, because
Yeah.
that's really true. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So your TI is really more like something that's comparing. It's comparing things and finding contradictions. Do you see that in your TI?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like for me, I have my bag of SE. So my SE is just constantly like grabbing things, facts from the environment. And so I have my
Right.
little bag. And what I do all the time as an NT is I just bang the blocks together because I'm looking
Right.
for patterns
Right.
constantly. How do these things align and fit up?
Right.
Um, and if something fits up, like if somebody gives me something, it's like, oh, I see this pattern and it aligns with my TI understandings of the world. It's like, well, that makes sense. I accept that.
Yeah. When you say TI understandings, for me, it's NI understandings. That's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I could have it totally wrong.
I could have it wrong, man. We don't know.
We don't know. We don't know.
Oh, okay. But like, what about that SE? Do you find that like when you're saying you're gathering that bag of SE, it's a good metaphor. But do you find that like there's a lot of it that you're missing when you gather? Do you find that, or maybe like a lot of it you just pick up and you don't put in the bag; it just slips between your fingers?
Mm, No, I feel like I live in a world of consuming all the time. I consume everything all the time.
Right.
So I
But you're
don't
not
feel
missing
like
anything.
I don't feel like I miss very much.
You're just too
Um,
focused on one thing, and that's how maybe you miss things in the SE because of the focus.
but I don't feel very focused. I feel scattered. I mean, again, my NI is feminine and it's watery.
Right.
So I feel like I spend more time in consume, and because my sensory is masculine, I feel like I just once I see something, I hold on to it, and it's like this is reality. This is solid. It's not gonna change. So
Right.
do I miss things?
Your SE is double activated too, and it's masculine.
Right. I'm
And
very hyper
your
vigilant.
consume is also double activated.
Yes. Yeah. It's double activated and it's masculine.
Yeah. Yeah. We have the same modalities, by the way.
Okay.
So yeah. Well, we're supposed to. I don't know if we actually do. um, so okay. So
So
tell me about your consume then. Like, do you spend how much of the day do you spend consuming?
all of it. I
Yeah.
mean, uh, I consume everything. Um,
Right.
I how do I answer that? Like, I have way over 300 movies. I
Wow.
all the time. If I'm not working, I'm consuming.
Do you feel like it's easier to spend time in your head if you have something stimulating you, something that you're
Oh
consuming?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I need constant input.
Input.
Like, and
Otherwise,
if
you have
I'm a
nothing to sleep for. Sorry, go ahead.
so like if I'm at nighttime and I'm trying to sleep, like literal sleep,
Oh, literal sleep. Okay.
then I'm processing, like I'm analyzing everything that I consumed during the day.
Right.
And I'm running those NI scenarios in my head of like, what if I had said, what if I had said this in the conversation? How would it unfold that way? Um,
That's interesting. So you are looking at okay, you're looking at the past, but on different variations of what the past could have been.
yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I feel like I do that a lot too. Um,
For me, that's very annoying. It's like I can't turn it off.
well, what it does though is that if that situation comes up again, you know other options that you have in the moment,
Yeah,
and maybe a better option the next time, even though you probably don't take it. Because I know I don't take it, even though I've figured
right.
out a better option. It's like,
Exactly. I've learned.
yeah. Okay. So, cool. So, what kind of tidal waves do you get on your SE then?
That's a good question. So I've been thinking about that ever since I knew we were going to have this interview, and um, I I definitely am somebody who like runs into walls and knocks over objects and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Like clumsy.
clumsy, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see it as clumsy though because I just continue on. Like
Right.
I might run into a wall, but then I'll just keep going. Or like
You,
I've fallen before, just
Yeah,
get
you
back.
know what's interesting? I don't know if this happens to you, but for me, like if people are moving and the environment around me is changing, it's very distracting. But then like I'll put my hand out and catch something before it even falls because I know what's going to happen. Like it feels like, does that happen to you?
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And like no one understands how I do it or how I know it and they don't know it because they're the ones knocking it over, but like it's really weird.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that for me, that would be part of being hypervigilant. It's like I'm super aware of what's going on. And like when I see something that's lining up in my NI, it's like, this is what's going to happen. That once you know
Yeah.
it's over, I'm going to, so I just
Yeah.
automatically flex out. Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, I'm glad I asked that. Okay, so tell me about and then you're saying your FE feels like more of a demon than your SE for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, SE is a demon. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
certainly feel like I'm unaware of the environment sometimes, but if something goes wrong, like if I'm not aware of an object and it falls over, I just pick it up. It doesn't feel like it's a lasting
Oh,
demon.
okay.
But my FE, I just continuously throughout my life, I continuously irritate people in certain ways because I'm unaware of social things that you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I get that, man.
And I have ongoing difficulties. Like I have coworkers who hate me right now, and there's
Do
nothing
you
I can
think
do
they
to fix
do you
it.
think they actually hate you, or do you think that it's just your perception?
No, there've been identifiable things that have happened, like
Right.
conversations and stuff
I see. And
that have happened.
does that like really bother you? Does it feel like you have that IP fear of the tribe, or
It's I don't think it would be pleasant for anybody,
yeah, I
but
don't think so either for sure.
um I yes and no.
Okay.
Um I feel like I'm right.
Yeah,
Would be my TI.
right.
So on some level I just tell myself, well, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Um but yeah, I would prefer people don't hate me.
Yeah. Well, I think you're a lovable guy, man. I want to just give you a hug. You look like this big friendly teddy bear. So,
Thank you.
yeah. I wouldn't hate you. Well, I don't know you that well, but like I think I wouldn't hate you. I think yeah. But maybe it's just like the social situation where it becomes like, you become the fall guy sort of thing. Is that what you think happens?
So I can give some examples.
You don't have to, just if you feel comfortable. I would appreciate it though. That's awesome if you could.
Yeah, sure. So for one thing, this pops in my head, and it happened years ago. But I was at a grocery store with my aunt,
Right.
and when you go in the grocery store, you have like carts that you can get to go in and put stuff in your cart. And I just went up to a cart, got the cart, I'm ready to go. And my aunt was so upset with me because apparently there was a pregnant lady behind me. And
Oh. But that
like
comes into SE too. Like you didn't notice it, or did you notice it and
exactly.
take the card anyways?
I didn't know there was a pregnant lady behind me,
Right. Okay.
but my aunt was like, she was waiting for you to give her a cart. I'm like
Yeah.
even if I had known there was a pregnant lady behind
So
me,
that's
I
both.
don't
That's like
think,
SEFE. It's like someone with FE would be more aware of people in general, and then
yeah.
SE would be more aware of their surroundings. So yeah, it does. It makes sense that that kind of thing would happen. Yeah.
But then
But
I
like,
I held my ground because I'm like, no, you're wrong. Like I'm not gonna like
uh,
I don't care if there's a pregnant. I'm not gonna like give my
right.
cart
Okay.
or whatever. So we
Right.
had argument over that. And
Right.
then so just for information, I've been a student for most of my life, but I graduated like a couple years ago,
Right.
and I've been working full time and as a therapist in different places. And for me, it's been hell figuring out the coworker situation in
Yeah.
all the places I've been in. Like, for example, when I was at this different place, we had meetings that were required and you had to be there for an hour. Yeah, you got paid for it. But I would go in the meetings and the whole time they'd be doting on somebody's newborn baby or something and
Oh
passing the
man.
baby around.
Oh
I'm
no.
like, I don't want to hold the baby because I fear dropping the baby. But
Oh wow, because of that demon SE. Okay.
yeah, but also I feel like it's a waste of my time and it's a waste of
Right.
everything.
But do you see how like that cart incident was like you were in the wrong now, or you still think you were right in what you were doing?
I still think I was right,
Really?
100%. Yeah, I was like 17, 18. I was going to get my cart. Pregnant lady was
Wow.
there to get her own cart. She didn't know I was
Okay.
going to be there.
Interesting. And do you think that like you're also wrong in like not taking the time to go through the social situation at work, or do you think it's okay?
Well, I was there for the meeting. That was the requirement. I
Yeah.
fulfilled that. I think it was. Oh, I still think it was a waste of everybody's time.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't think
Yeah.
we accomplished anything. I think
So yeah, so for me it would be the same thing. I would think it's a complete waste of my time and everybody's time. But I would be aware that there's a tidal wave coming if you don't pay attention to the tribe and if you don't like interact with them and be friendly to them.
that's where my problem is. Because then
Yeah,
I become the cold, aloof guy who doesn't
right.
interact.
Yeah. But like that's only true for me because I've paid the price for not like interacting with the tribe and for like and it took me a long time to get that understanding that you need to do that. You need to spend time with the tribe and show them that you're interested in them, even if you're not. Just pretend that you are. And
That's really hard for me because
yeah,
part of me doesn't care, because I have that IJ.
yeah.
I
So
don't.
so I've learned to care over the years, but for me, I also care from a TI perspective because I know that I'm gonna pay hell for it later if I I know there's a consequence. Like I know the NI pattern of what happens if I don't. So my
Right.
TI definitely cares, and now that I'm more in touch with my FE, it also cares. Like it also wants to be friendly and give to other people and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm wondering how we can unlock that for you, man. You need to
I'm
do it.
working on it. I'm working on it.
Yeah,
I've I've been making more small talk, you
right.
know, around people. Yeah.
Yeah. A book that really helped me when I was young, and it was really hard for me to read it because like someone gave it to me as like an insult, I thought. It was called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Like, you're
Oh
bad with
man.
people. Take this. It's going to help you. And it's like, screw you. I'm okay with people. Like, what are you insulting? But anyway, I
But
actually ended up,
speaking of that,
yeah.
after the my aunt with the pregnant lady thing, for my next birthday, she gave me a book on etiquette.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, exactly what happened to me, man. So, but did you end up reading the book on etiquette?
No.
No, of course not. You had to fight it. Yeah. So I actually it sat on my shelf for a long time and I refused to read it, and I was just pissed that it was given to me, and I didn't want to throw it out because it was a gift, but also like but when I actually got around to reading it, I was like, "Oh, yeah." And it unlocked like so many ideas about people and how they work for me, and maybe why I was getting these tidal waves because I was just doing everything wrong. And
So even back then, you knew some of your personality tidal waves.
yeah, I didn't know there was such a thing as personality, but I knew the tidal waves. Yeah, but yeah, let's talk more about you. So let's tell us about your play. Like, what do you do when you play? What's your like? It's a hobby. So what's your play hobby? I see some games up there in the background.
Oh, so right now I'm at a friend's house. This is
Oh,
his
okay, all
guest
right,
room.
cool.
Um, and he's like an indie guy, so he's got tons of stuff. But yeah, I my play would be. I think I'm very spontaneous, um, to a fault in a way,
Okay.
because like friends would call me up and say, "Hey, do you want to go to a movie?" And I'd be doing like say laundry or something, and I just drop everything. Like, yeah, of course, let's go, let's go.
Yeah. Thanks for giving me an excuse. That's
Yeah.
gonna okay.
So yeah, I think that I'm always ready to do stuff with the tribe, whether it's board games, whatever they want to do.
Right.
I'm
That's
always
cool.
open.
Except for small talk. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not a small talker. Like
Yeah.
I go into it. Like when I see people, I'm just like you, even like you, like in the beginning, I was like asking you all these questions and we were just going to like a personal place. But yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. We have this meeting every Thursday night with just guys, right? And I completely killed the mood. Like I realized after I did it, but like there's this guy, he's coming out and he's got all these jokes and everyone's laughing and stuff. And then I killed the mood. I'm like, wow, when do you come up with those jokes? Like you work on them beforehand, and like I'm questioning him about about
Yes,
the
I do
jokes.
that.
And then
I do.
he's like, yeah, I actually planned them all out. Thanks, man. It's like, oh, it's cool that you checked the room, like to see if they work and stuff. He's like, yeah. He's like, he wants to make it feel like it's natural, like that's his attitude, but like he completely planned for. Yeah. Anyway, so that happens.
That's where I would say like I do that, and people think that I'm analyzing stuff too much. Like
Yeah.
I'm not living in the moment or whatever.
Yeah. Cool, man. So, okay, so what about that Blast Last? Like, I see you're in the Blast Last group. I see you practicing. I see improvement. Um, like, how have you noticed your improvement in Blast, and what are your difficulties?
My main difficulty, I think, with Blast is communication. I feel like I don't have any problem getting started on stuff and throwing shit at the wall. Like I feel like I
Right,
do that all the time.
right.
I just don't follow through.
You're that glass lizard, so you have it next to your NI.
Right.
Yeah,
But for me, it's all about communication. So like I get tongue tied a lot, and it's like I start jumping
right,
into what I'm going to say, and then I don't know where I'm going, and
right.
my blast has really improved though, since I work with people all the time, like
Hmm.
every day, most of the day. So um, yeah, I was really crappy with blast before. Well, before grad school. Like grad school is just it's blast. Like that's what you're doing. You're teaching
Hmm.
the information that you've accumulated
Right.
over and over and over again, and spontaneously. Like there's no planning.
Yeah.
So that certainly helped. So I'm compared to myself, um, like a decade or two ago. Yeah, I'm amazing at blast right now.
Right.
Still, it's
Awesome.
hard.
Yeah. Relatively amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the difficulties I find with Blast and iBlast is that you have like these concepts that you understand in and out, and they're abstract and they're not concrete. And then when you want to turn them into concrete, you want to bring them out into like this SE, like this sensory language. I feel like language is really sensory.
Yeah.
And when you try to convert it, do that conversion, that's when like you're not sure, it's losing meaning, and you want to, that's where I find my trouble mostly in Blast. Do you find the same thing?
100%. Yeah. Like and that's where I feel like my NI is so watery. It's just like I have this vague thing, and like I
Right.
see the connections and patterns, but how do I translate that into an ST clear way? And
Right.
it falls through the cracks. It's just,
Right. And then your F is also like Blast is your female region. So your
yeah.
FE is also female, and it should be like, you know, going with the flow and not wanting to tell the tribe what to do and things like that. And so,
Right. Well,
yeah,
I've questioned that. Like that's one of the things that I would really be in doubts with my type if I didn't have like
Manny.
Odom around. But
Well, just from what you explained about your stubborn TI, I'm like, no, I was right. I don't. So just from that, I have an idea that maybe your FE could be feminine.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's not in question now. It's not in question.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes I do feel like I'm pushing people, but I think that's
Yeah.
just coming out more in general.
Yeah.
Because when I
Cool.
teach people, I feel like I'm pushing them. So maybe my FE is just so feminine.
Right. Are you actually pushing them, or is it just something that you feel like you're pushing too hard?
I don't know. Sometimes when I feel like I'm in a spontaneous mood, I'm like, well, we should do this. Let me
Yeah.
convince you that we're going to do this or something like that. Um, but no, I don't feel like I would actually push people beyond their limits. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Like I've
Okay.
come across clients who are very double masculine or masculine, and it's like they try to move me in all these ways, and it's like I gotta you know
Right. Right. And so then your masculine identity should be able to stop that if they push too much.
right.
Yeah, I find it's like a spring, like sort of thing. Like they can push and they can push, but eventually that TI is going to be there, and like they can't push anymore. It's just all going to throw back in their face.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. So tell me a little bit about how you find OP working in your life, or like are you able to identify people around you, things like that.
Um. So for me, it's really hard to identify somebody as like their 512th type around
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
I sort of give up on that.
right.
But I love the complexity of OP, and I mean the main thing that I like about OP though is that it's moving towards understanding that functions are working in combination. That's what gives the
Yeah, yeah,
type. Like we're
right,
not we're not just we like you and I have all the same functions, but when you start combining them in certain ways, that's what makes the person unique.
right.
Um, so one thing that OP has done is sort of like cleaned the board for me. So like I had people who I thought were specific MBTI type, and now I don't know. Now I they could be
Yeah.
anything.
What about when you're working with your therapy and stuff with your clients? Do you try to use some of what you've learned?
I try. Yes, I definitely see sexual modalities. That's easiest, like
Right.
especially some double masculine.
That's
That's
interesting because that's the hardest
very
for
easy.
me. Cool.
Really.
Yeah.
Um, I think the middle ones, like the audio and video visuals, are harder.
Okay.
But the double masculine, double feminines, I see.
Right.
Um, I've always used functions or personality in general to like understand somebody more. So I have people coming in and they're just FIing the whole time, and I'm like, okay, I see that. Um, or
Oh,
somebody will
okay.
come in and they'll just be. I've noticed lately that people will talk a lot about their tidal waves.
Right. Okay.
Like I had a decider the other day who was coming in saying that he doesn't know who he is.
Right.
He
EJ.
didn't
There
have
you
an
go.
identity. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
interesting.
that's either EJ or Sleep Last, but yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay, cool, man. Do you have any like, yeah, finish your process. You
No,
good?
I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm
I know
wait.
I saw you were, yeah, it's okay, man.
It's
Uh,
constant. It's
yeah,
going
yeah, no,
all the time.
I know, man. I got you. Okay. Do you have like a final message or something that you want to say, like something that's important to you to say before we finish?
I really feel like, you know, so OP has been great in my life, and I feel confident in the type that OP has given me. I would
That's
have
really cool.
so many doubts if I didn't have somebody in my type doc who was my exact type, Neil Patrick
Yeah.
Harris, and somebody in the community, Odom. That's been even bigger because we can ping pong off each other, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I think what I would say is like for people who are doubting themselves to just stick around with the theory and wait for their 512th twin to arrive.
Right. Cool, man. Awesome. It was really great meeting you. Like I'm really happy we got to do this.
Me
And
too.
yeah, and we'll hopefully arrange something else in the future. Cool. Take
Cool.
it easy. Have a good one.
You too.